The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. You've probably seen Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper in various puzzles, TV shows, and movies. Was there a halo or some kind of aura around Jesus in this painting? Actually, this is not a painting at all but a decoration on the wall of a church, specifically the Dominican monastery of Santa Maria del Grazie in Milan, northern Italy. If you want to see it in person, you need to join a tour because it's a fresco on the wall of a monastery, which has been restored many times and is quite worn. In fact, if you pay attention, you can't see Jesus' feet or anything like that in the middle of the table because there is a door opening right below it. Let me tell you the fascinating story of the Last Supper. Before we start, there's something you need to know. The meal is associated with Passover, also known as the Feast of Unleavened Bread. This Jewish festival begins on the 15th day of Nisan and commemorates the Israelites' escape from slavery in Egypt. The Israelites left Egypt without waiting for their bread dough to rise, which is why the festival is called the Feast of Unleavened Bread. The Eucharist, also known as Holy Communion, is another important aspect. During this sacrament, bread and wine are central. The bread represents the body of Christ, and the wine represents his blood. In the evening of the meal, Jesus tells his disciples that they will eat the Passover meal together, and he informs them that one of them will betray him. This causes panic among the disciples, and each one asks, "Lord, is it I?" Jesus responds, "The one who has dipped his hand into the bowl with me will betray me." Behold, Judas, who will betray him the next day, says, "Lord, did you mean me?" And Jesus says, "It is as you said." According to the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus breaks the bread and gives it to his disciples, saying, "Take and eat, this is my body." Then he gives them the cup, saying, "Drink from it, all of you, this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins." In the 1970s, a restorer named Barion worked for 21 years to restore it to its current state, and it was opened to the public in 1999. The fresco depicts the moment when Jesus reveals that one of the disciples will betray him, capturing their reactions. Notice that the fresco is quite worn, and the decoration does not actually show Jesus' feet in the middle of the table or anything like that. The table is covered with a lace and white tablecloth, and there are wine glasses. The bread, fish, and fruit seen here symbolize Christian elements. The figures around Jesus are divided into 4 groups. Starting from the far left, there are Bartholomew, James the Lesser, James Minor, Andrew, and Judas Iscariot, who is holding a money bag. On the other side of Jesus are Peter, John, often depicted as Mary Magdalene by Dan Brown but actually John, and Thomas. Peter, one of Jesus' closest disciples, is the first pope and a key figure in Christianity. He is said to have seen Jesus' crucifixion and later went to Rome to preach. John went to Ephesus and wrote the Gospel of John. Andrew, Peter's brother, was martyred by being crucified on an X-shaped cross. Thomas, known as Doubting Thomas, initially did not believe in Jesus' resurrection. Matthew was a tax collector and wrote the Gospel of Matthew. James the Lesser was also martyred. Thaddeus, went to Syria to spread Christianity, as did Simon the Zealot. Judas Iscariot, who betrayed Jesus for 30 pieces of silver, is depicted with a money bag and a spilled salt cellar, symbolizing bad news. In the fresco, Jesus is in the center with the bread and wine, symbolizing the Eucharist. The composition is also a reference to the Holy Trinity, with the triangular arrangement of figures. Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks contain sketches of this work, including body positions and arrangements. Interestingly, around 1520, a painting was made based on this fresco by 2 artists, possibly Leonardo's assistants, who transferred it from the wall to canvas. Without these canvas copies, the 1970s restoration would have been impossible. There are some speculative theories, such as those presented in Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code, which suggest that John is actually Mary Magdalene and that they were married with children. Other theories claim that the painting hides musical notes or astrological symbols predicting the end of the world in 4006. Lucas Cranach, a painter, depicted the disciples in a way that reflects the Protestant Reformation, but still included elements like betrayal and money bags.